Okay, well, thanks for coming, people. And I'm giving a quick talk on classic versus colloquial NVC. I can't help but bring my linguistic background to bear on something like this. So I'm very interested in language and how language works. And when I came across NVC, I was very happy because as well as just giving us guidance on what we should do or what would make life more wonderful, we've also been given how to do that with what I will call for the moment a formula. And we can practice that formula a bit like learning the piano. We practice it, and then as we get better at it and we understand what we're trying to do with our choices of language, then we can modify and move away from the formula. So if you think about playing a piece of music, you might learn it very precisely according to how the teacher describes it to us, but then as you start to feel the music in you, you bring yourself to it and you make meanings through the way you play it. But it's still the piece of music and it still has its same intent. So I would like to suggest that that's the difference between classical and colloquial, is we bring ourselves to the colloquial, bearing in mind and respecting what the intention is of using this kind of classic giraffe of observations, feelings, needs, and requests. So I won't use a breakout room, but while I'm hoping Elke could give me a co-host rights so I can share my screen, I would like to invite all of you to put down in the chat what you think the features of classical observations are. Just what comes to mind? What is it that you remember you were taught to do when you were giving a giraffe observation? Thank you, Elke.
And you should be able to screen share already, E.T.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you. And at the same time, what about feelings? What is it that we want to say about how we feel in a giraffe way? Okay, for observations, we've got, what does the camera see? Your 5 senses. Observation is recorded audio or video. Name what you see, what you can see and hear like a video recording. Yeah. So I'm hearing in all of this, there needs to be some kind of sense of real world observation as opposed to some kind of judgment we bring to that observation. Okay, feelings. Physical sensations and feeling words, feelings mixed with thoughts, feeling words versus feelings mixed with thoughts. Yeah. Do not say you make me feel. That's right. So something about feelings coming from within as opposed to being impacted upon. And the thing that makes my heart sing is that we've got language choices which make those meanings. So we can express how we feel, that's coming up from us somatically, as well as choose how we feel by being put upon. You know, we have both choices, and so we choose. Feelings have only one person, sad, not 2 or more, betrayed. Yes, yes. Naming feelings accurately without interpretations. Yes, so these are all the judgments. So I'm hearing mixing with thoughts or mixing with interpretations are forms of judgment. All right, what about needs? And of course, requests. What is it about needs that make them classic? Needs words, yes. Wonder what they are. Needs, not strategies. Yes, the difference between something that is universally shared and strategies, a way of getting it met. Needs are universal, not unique to a single person or group. Correct? Isn't that the most beautiful thing to learn? Needs are beyond just physical survival, sustenance needs. Yes, there's a whole kind of hierarchy or cline of needs that go from our physical all the way through to our spiritual. Our longings or yearnings that we all have, although strategies may differ, that's right. We share the needs, but we might come up with different strategies. Beautiful. Oh, and what about requests? What is it about a request that makes it classic? Requests must not be demands, like that little demand in there. I love it. That's right. We don't want to make our request something that the other person feels like they must do, which is a nice link back to Elke's talk. Specific and doable. Yes, requests are doable, and the request is okay with a no. So there's an intention there to be ready for and fully accept a no. If we ask a request that's choiceful. When I saw, I felt because I needed, would you be willing to? Yep. That looks rather classic. Okay, that's wonderful. All right, I'm going to now share my screen, and please feel free to keep adding as something occurs to you. Oh, what happened? There we go. Right. Okay, excuse that cute little logo in the middle. Couldn't change it. Anyway, so observations, having listened or read and responded, when I glean through the literature on nonviolent communication and classic OFNRs, the observations come out as specific, indisputable, judgment and blame free. So what I'm kind of pulling out here is the meanings that we're making in an observation. Feelings, mimeable in the sense that we can demonstrate them with facial features, relate to our physical, somatic, bodily responses, blame free, and only about us. Needs, they're abstract concepts. They're about us, only about us. We don't bring other people in. Requests, positive, choiceful, clear and doable. 3 kinds. For action, that's the asking somebody to do something. For clarification, asking for some what, I need more understanding, what is missing in what I know. And then for connection, how is it in our relationship with each other? Okay, so I don't think I've produced anything that was unexpected. All of you managed, because of we're all in the NVC community, none of that was a surprise. But what I want to say is then when we bring ourselves to a classic OFNR, what we want to do is try and maintain these meanings so that we stay true to an NVC intention. So I've got here an example, a classic example, which I'll just read, and you can see the color coding relates to the image. So observation, when I hear you telling me you bought a barbecue when you went shopping this morning. Feelings, right now I feel sad and uncomfortable. Needs, because consideration is important to me. Request, would you be willing to reconsider your purchase once we find a style that we both like? Now, as we move out of an NVC community into the wilds of the real world, that formulaic example where I'm meeting the sort of grammar that's been presented as the way to make these meanings in an NVC style doesn't sound like it's what you'd say in the everyday, but it's really good to practice because it gives you the opportunity to practice the intention in language choice. But we end up wanting to sound our natural selves. So my description of what a colloquial expression of the offener is, if you're staying true to the meanings and expressing it in a way which is natural for you, then you're achieving the same intention. So my little exercise that I'd like you to now consider is, I'm not sure if I can do this, but I want to put that offener into the chat, Elka. Is that possible? Can you maybe take a screenshot of it? Or I can do that, perhaps, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, if you have the text, you can copy. If you have the original text, you can copy it in.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to stop sharing and just go back. Let me see, where's my end of the show?
And there's about 8 minutes left.
How much? What was that, Elka?
About 8 minutes. I wasn't sure if you saw my text or my chat.
Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, so that did not copy. I'll try that again. Copy. Paste. Yeah, I think that might go there. There it is. Oh, I copied it twice. So for the last little bit that's remaining, I'm going to write in what I think might be a colloquial equivalent, and I'd invite you each to write in what you might think is a colloquial equivalent of that formulaic offener. Yeah, there it is. Great. Does everybody understand the request? Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. I'll put mine in as you're writing. I've got some typos, but doesn't matter.
ET, you've posted it just to me, so you might want to.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
you can just change the chat to everyone.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I'll fix the typos as I go. Thanks for noticing that, Elka. Okay. Okay, so I've got, I would love to be part of the decision of what type of barbecue we purchase, or do you want to do all the cooking on the barbecue and the cleanup? I'm noticing I'm a bit sad and concerned hearing that you bought the barbecue, and I would like to have been consulted first. I'm not sure I'm being very clear, and I was wondering if you could tell me what you heard. I'm bummed that you didn't consider my opinion before we bought the barbecue. Could we look together for a style we both like? And then I wrote, listening to your excitement about buying the barbecue, I'm feeling sad because I want to share in decision making. So I'm wondering if you could reconsider the barbecue that you've bought. I'd love to go together to look at what's on offer. I would really have enjoyed you consulting with me about buying a barbecue because I would enjoy having a say in which one we got. Would you look to see if there's one we both love and maybe make a swap if it's not the one you picked? Thank you, everybody. What I'm reading is there's a sense of making it sound like me, but also being true to those features, those meaning features of a giraffe offer. So I'm hoping that that has helped clarify the difference between classic and colloquial. And I would suggest that if we keep our meanings the same and our intention true, then our expression of those meanings is open to bringing ourselves into it and saying it as it sounds and feels natural for us. And I'll leave it there. Sterling, yes.
You laughed at mine, and I like to be laughed with or at. And I'd like some feedback on how that landed. That was my response.
Oh, thank you for offering the opportunity. As soon as I laughed, I thought, oh, I shouldn't laugh. But I'll tell you why I laughed. I laughed because it's an indirect comment on what the consequence is of what happened. So I would like to be part of the decision making. Or do you want to do all the cooking on the barbecue and the cleanup? So if you don't include me, this is the consequence, is what you're saying. And while I think that's quite funny, I'm not sure that you might get the response you're wanting. What do you think would happen to the person that's listening to that?
I think I would get their attention. And I was pleased that you laughed. And other than that, I'm not connected to the real world.
Well, I think what you've also done is a really interesting move where if you know the person really well, they can enjoy the humor of this, indirect consequential threat because they know you. But if there's somebody that you don't know, and therefore there's not this mutual understanding of how we speak to each other. Sometimes couples have their little dynamic, and then when other people see their little dynamic, even though the couples are happy in their dynamic, other people react to it because they don't understand the people and the lives they share and their life experience. So that was my response to it. How does that land?
Well, if somebody bought a barbecue that I didn't know, I would say, oh, thanks very much. Yes, I don't. But if I know them and I'm expected to be, and I'm partner where we're using the barbecue, I'm making some assumptions there. And yeah, I'm happier with mine because it doesn't sound like you've just been come back from NVC school and trying to be baby giraffes.
And as I'm suggesting, if you can say that to the person that wanted to be part of the decision-making process, then it just demonstrates that you've got an intimate, close relationship where you know each other well. Time. I can see Elka. Anybody want to? Is there time for more feedback, Elka, or are we done?
I'm just letting you know that the 20 minutes pass.
And I might say also, Sterling, you might get exactly the intention. Your request might actually be very successful in meeting your needs and also land with the person you spoke to. Well, this is the beauty of language.
Well, if I didn't know them, I would thank them for the barbecue and invite them over someday.
Indeed. I can see I've possibly sparked some deep thinking.
Well, I'll share a little bit of feedback about, your discussion with Sterling right there. And I found it interesting because it touches on a topic of, colloquial NVC. There's a lot of leeway on it. If, and that's the big if, you have a lot of connection with the other person. So you might be able to say things that are, very abbreviated and maybe sound rude to other people listening. But if the two people are kind of synced up, they know exactly what's going on, and all they're hearing is please and thank you, and I thought it was fun. Met my need for play, and that's my feedback.
Thanks. That lands well. Thank you, John. You were going to say something, Hope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm applauding you, ET, for taking on this topic in this little tiny short bit of time. I think it's really challenging to keep the intention and the different components of NVC and keep it so that it, so that it isn't what Sterling was saying, which we all had come back from an NVC workshop. So, and I know how awkward the formula feels when you first are trying to use it. And I think it's really difficult to shift it into Giraffe. It's relatively easy, I mean, I wouldn't typically use the word I'm bummed. That was sort of a, okay, I'm trying to do the thing. But also that often if I'm doing that, I'm not fully expressing OFNR. If I'm shifting to giraffe talk or colloquial, I may be capturing a couple of the components, but not all of them. And even the restating of them, I'm going to say, sounded like another version of OFNR. So I think you took on I'm applauding you taking on that topic, and I'm not sure we have grappled with it, or maybe I'm just grappling with it. Maybe it's me.
Oh no, I appreciate the observation. In fact, that when is it still an OFNR, and when does it move away from being an OFNR?
Yeah, because you want the intention of OFNR to be there, right? And so, you know, it's relatively easy to say, you know, some feeling word perhaps that's more light and, you know, I'm stoked instead of, you know, I'm ecstatic or something. That's relatively easy, but to keep all 4 components there and still keep it the way we would speak to each other, I think that's a huge challenge that probably deserves more than 20 minutes.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I'm hearing it'd be nice to spend more time on this topic.
Well, it opens up the topic. It opens that up for more thought. And that's what I like about it.
Thank you.
And it's, I find that you're opening the door and you come on in and sit down and we're going to have a good conflab here, you know. So.
Thanks. Just wondering about the time, Elka. How are we going?
Yeah, I figured if we each had 10 minutes for feedback, we'd be okay. I think we still have a few more minutes for feedback and then a closing. Not much longer though, I think. That leaves us about 5-10 minutes at the very end. So if we take a few minutes now and then if Mark presents for 20 and has 10 minutes feedback, we just have just a few minutes to kind of close off.
Well, your presentation, for me, established you've got some authority to talk about this, just in your manner of talking about it. I'm quite willing to listen and grapple with what you're saying, and I'm willing to offer something that's maybe not that appropriate, but probably more true to me. So you're succeeding at getting me on board and being present. And I like that. And the last time on empathy and sympathy, you did the same good trick. And it got me worked up in the middle of the night thinking, well, now I really understand it. and as did Elka. So so there's magic happening for me.
Thank you, Stanley. That makes my heart sing. Hope, I can see you.
Your heart is singing, thinking of him stirred up in the middle of the night. I just want to say, E.T., we don't know each other at all, and I felt a real warmth through the screen from you. So a real sort of, I got your own interest in this distinction because of your, I gather you have some background in linguistics or at least an interest in it. And so kind of naming that up front really helped me kind of go with you on the exploration, and your warmth made me want to do that. And also when you were asking us to put things in the chat, you did as well. So I had a real sense of being a co-learner with you.
Yes, well, I'm definitely still a learner too, Hope. So I appreciate your recognition of that. And the inquiry that goes on with me is ongoing, and grateful that you enjoy that. Well, maybe we should move on then, Elka.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for listening, everybody, and participating in my activity.